Welcome to the Biz Builders Podcast, where we believe building the business of your dreams can change your life. I'm your host, Sandy Patterson, former teacher turned certified life and business coach. After 14 years of teaching, I took a huge leap, left my job, and built 2 successful businesses with no business or sales background. Now I'm living the life of my dreams, and I'm ready to help you do the same. You're in the right spot here if you're ready to dig into not only the strategy of business building, but also the belief in yourself that building a business is possible. You're made for this, and you've got exactly what it takes to create the financial, time, and location freedom you're craving. Over here, we value progress over perfection. We embrace being uncomfortable, and we believe that anything, literally anything you want, is possible for you with the right strategy, mindset, and support. You'll also hear inspiring stories here and, of course, failures of women who are doing the same thing. The whole idea is if she can do it, so can I. Thanks for being here. Let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Like always, I am so excited you're here. And today we are just going to dive right in. I am getting ready to host a mini mind tomorrow, and it is called From Friend Zone to Full-Time Mini Mind, where we are going to be going over all things specificity, messaging, and content. And I'm so excited about this because this has been something that has been really frustrating for me for a long time. And when I say long time, I mean since I started my coaching business in January of 2023, I feel like we have these great ideas and these great offers in our heads, and then we think it's very simple and let's just post a couple, slides in stories or throw up a post on Facebook that says, I'm so excited, 2 spots are open, come join me, and we expect people to join us. But really, social media is so much more than that. And if you want to call in dream clients consistently in order to create a sustainable business through your content and messaging, you just simply have to be more specific. That's just a fact. That is just the truth. And I know that when your messaging is not specific, it can feel like the wild, wild west out there. You are just posting things, you're crossing your fingers, we're hoping, we're praying that something works. But that is just simply not sustainable. And so I've spent the last 6+ months really refining my messaging, and naturally I wanted to share everything that I have learned and everything that has been transformative for me in my business and in my messaging with you, of course. And that's really why I designed this mini mind. And the reason this episode came up is because I was getting ready I'm preparing to host this mini mind, which I'm so excited about. There are 3 amazing women in it, and we are going to just dig into specifically their messaging, their content, their offers, their dream clients, and how specific can we get in their messaging to really begin to call in their dream clients. And so I'm getting ready for that, and I'm noticing, I'm creating this little cheat sheet of tips, and I'm okay, anybody can benefit from these, even seasoned content creators that what you're doing. These are going to be really great reminders. And if you're in the space right now that I was in, where I was oh, this is so frustrating, it feels like I'm posting all the time and nothing is happening, these are going to be so helpful for you. And of course, when you're in the mini mind with me, it's going to be more hands-on and more tailored and more customized to you and your business. But I hope that these 5 tips today, you can walk away and you can implement one or all of these right away to just begin to tweak your messaging so it's more specific, and so you can begin to call in your dream clients too. So I'm going to dive right in. Number 1 is, and this sounds like common sense, but I think this is something that people oftentimes glaze over, or they underestimate how powerful it can be to tap into this. So you got to tap into who your offer is for. Now this makes sense, right? Duh, we want to know who it's for. But I think what happens is we're in our heads and we're creating these amazing offers that we know can transform lives. And we know that we just know that this is an amazing amazing thing for someone, but we need to get clearer on who that someone is. Like, who is this for? So I thought it would be helpful to give you some examples of some vague messaging and then an example of clear messaging. But the first question in this like number one is, who is your offer for? And you can go as deep with this as you want. I always joke with my clients. I'm like, no, we're not just going to know like who our dream client is. We're going to know her on like a stalker like level. Okay. So let me give you an example of a vague situation here. Okay. So who is this for? This is for women who want more out of life. Okay. So like, more what? You're left wondering like, wait, what? More coffee, more naps, more success, more clients in my business? Like, what exactly are we talking about here? I don't know. So like, I don't know. Who is this for? Don't really know. A clear example of this is for ambitious online coaches who are tired of posting vague content that doesn't convert and want to clarify their messaging to attract paying clients. This second example is so much clearer, and I know that you can hear that. I use the word ambitious because my clients identify themselves as like ambitious go-getters, online coaches. So it's clear, like, is that me or is that not me? It doesn't leave you wondering if like, is this for like somebody that owns an Etsy shop, or is this for somebody that owns a TPT store? Is this for somebody that, owns a coffee shop in real life? Like, it's clear who this is for, and it addresses a specific problem. Okay. And number two in this little number one, so we know who it's for on a stalker-like level and what is the problem that it solves. So I'm going to give you a vague example. What problem does this solve? I help you step into your next level. Okay, that's great, but like next level of what? Next level of my life, next level of my business. This kind of sounds like a video game a little bit. I don't know what next level means. Now, you probably know what that means in your head because you're in it and you're living it and your clients are living it and you're watching them and you're coaching them through it. But like, what does that mean to somebody that's never that doesn't know you, doesn't know your work, right? So here's a clearer example. I help new online coaches refine their messaging so they stop attracting crickets and start signing consistent clients. This is a specific problem. Okay, their content and messaging is attracting crickets, and there's a clear outcome for them to start signing consistent clients. This also very much addresses the first question of who it's for. It's for new online coaches. So this is so much clearer, right? And again, with that first example, I help you step into your next level. Like, think about this. If you were to see that somewhere and then there was like, purchase here, you're not going to spend money to figure out what next level means, right? You're probably not going to even take the time to message the person and be like, what does next level mean? Like, what does this actually look like for you? Like, no, you're just going to keep scrolling. Maybe you'll like it. You'll keep scrolling and you'll just keep going. Now, the third part is knowing and getting clear with how you solve this problem. Okay, so here's a vague example of this. Through my signature framework, I help you achieve your goals with ease. Okay, so that's cool. That's great, but it's a great start. But what is this mysterious framework? Like, I want to know what that is. I want to know what that means. I want to know what that looks like. I want you to break it down for me. And then your goals with ease, like what goals are we talking? Are we talking about like my health goals? Are we talking about me wanting to run a marathon? Are we talking about my business goals? Are we talking about my parenting goals? Like I don't know. Now, a clearer example of this is I take you through my 3-step messaging makeover process where we define your ideal client, craft clear and compelling content, and build a messaging strategy that turns followers into clients. So from that statement, it's so much clearer. They know what to expect better, and it sounds really valuable. That first situation through my signature framework, I help you achieve your goals with ease. Like, you know how powerful that is. You know how powerful it is to have somebody in your corner helping you achieve your goals. but like it doesn't, it's kind of blah. It's kind of meh, kind of like, I'm not going to pay for that because I don't know what it is. So you got to go through, you guys, and tap into, even if you think you've already done this, tap in deeper to who your offer is for by asking yourselves, who is this for? What is the problem it solves? And how do you specifically solve it? This does not have to be something different. It doesn't have to be something, different than everything else out there. It just needs to be from you in your voice. Like, just be more specific in how you specifically solve that problem. And you can use examples from yourself, how you've worked yourself through it. You can use examples from your clients. And yeah, just by tapping into like who it's for, even more than you already have, it's going to help tremendously with the specificity in your messaging. Okay. Now, number 2 is don't use ambiguous language. There is this thing where like we coaches, we know what a lot of these words mean, but somebody like coming in off the street, I always say, like, is not going to know like what you're talking about. So I'm going to give you an example of this too. Step into your power and live the life you were meant for. So like, what does that even mean? I don't know what power means. Like, I don't know. And people are, again, left wondering, is this for me? Is this for my dog? Like, is this some sort of like cult? I don't know. Like, what the heck is this? So what you got to do is you're going to use your little magnifying glass and you're going to step out before you post anything, before you send anything out, and you can even pay attention to this when you're talking to people, right? So phrases like power, next level, hands-on, embody mindset. Like, people are not at happy hour talking to their best friends about like, oh, I just wish I could have a better mindset. Like, that's not what they're saying. They're saying something completely different. They're probably saying something like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I feel like I never have enough time. The kids are driving me nuts and I just need a break. And I feel like I'll never ever get one for the rest of my life. Like, that is more clear than like, I need a better mindset, right? And as the mentor or as the coach, that you can absolutely help that woman with her time management, with creating boundaries, with creating space, with asking for help, with how to say no, all of those good things that we do. But somebody is not going to come into your world because you tell them, I can help you with your mindset. Like, it's just not a thing. So a great way to pick out this like language is to just, again, go through before you post anything, look with your little magnifying glass. Are there any words that are like buzzwords or words that you know what they mean, but they could have lots of different meanings? And take that out and instead put something in there that you are like, what does this look like when she's sitting at happy hour with her best friend? What is she saying? That's the type of language that we want to use, because that's the type of language that resonates with her. And it's the type of language that it's going to make it more specific versus being really broad and talking to everyone. Okay, we're past that. We're not talking to everybody, you guys. We're specific now. Like, we're clear. We know who we want to work with. We know who we don't want to work with. And we're going to speak directly to her. And we're going to avoid using ambitious language. And I'm just using the word her. But if you work with men, that's okay too. You can just switch that word out. Okay, and number 3 kind of goes with number 2. It's to step into consumer mode. So when I was a teacher, I was really, really, really good at this. I would be able to like plan the whole day out. So we'd have our lesson plans, we'd have all of our activities, we'd have the centers all ready to go. And I would always take just a second and I would step back and I would go, okay, in any given situation or any given lesson or any given moment, what is going to be confusing to a 5-year-old? Like, what are they going to look at and go, I'm confused? And what that allowed me to do is it allowed me to embed things in there ahead of time to kind of front load to make sure that those little like bumps in the road could be avoided. And so the day would move a lot smoother and in a lot more flow. It's the same thing with your messaging. And my mentor actually taught me this too. And it's just simply taking, it's like creating whatever it is that you're going to create and then taking a step back and going, okay, let me look at this as if I'm a person that has no idea who this girl is. I have no idea about her work. You can even pretend like you're a 5-year-old if you want. Like, look at it and go, do I know what this means? Like, is this clear? Is it like, what am I going to be confused about here? Is there anywhere, any language, any words, anything I can add to make it even more clear? Maybe there are screenshots I can add. Maybe there's an example of this that I have that happened last week with a client. I'm going to add that in so it's more specific and more clear. So you being able to step out of yourself and see your content through a potential client's eyes is huge. And that will absolutely help you when we think about specificity, okay? Now, number 4 is I want you to think about every piece of your content as a piece to a beautiful puzzle, okay? Like a 1,000-piece puzzle that you're slowly but surely putting together. And the reason I say this is because I see this often, and this actually just happened last week with me and a client. We were talking about this, and she's working on creating content, and she goes, but Sandy, I just feel like there's so much I want to say, and there's so much this person that doesn't know about me or know about my work. There's so much that, she needs to know. And I feel like I can't cram it all into one post. And I was like, you know what? You do not have to. You don't have to cram everything into one post. I would rather one post be specific and clear versus jamming everything in. Because if you think about this, if you think about it like a puzzle, each puzzle piece, there are distinguishing things about it, that its shape, maybe the colors on it, maybe, if it's a corner or an edge or a middle piece, there are things about it that allow us to see, but it doesn't come, you can't see the whole thing until you put it all together. And I would rather have you be more specific and more clear than try to jam everything in, because what happens when we try to jam everything in is it just gets muddled and it gets confusing and it gets overwhelming and it gets unclear. And the objective is to get specific and clear. So when people are reading this or seeing this, they know that it's for them. So even if you can't combine every single thing about you, every single thing about your work or your results or your values or how you work and all of these amazing things that make you the coach that you are, it's okay, because you want to think about this as a puzzle piece. So when people zoom out, they can see this whole beautiful picture, and they will see this whole beautiful picture. You just have to trust that. Because really what happens, if you think about somebody new that you come across on Instagram that intrigues you or that catches your eye, first of all, pay attention to why you stopped and what it is about that person's, what she said or what she did or what she's showing or sharing that made you stop and made you begin to click through. And you might just see that one thing one day and go, oh, that's really cool. I really like that. And then you keep scrolling. And then maybe a couple days later, you see something else of this person's and you go, oh, I remember that thing I saw yesterday. That was really cool. This is really cool too. And then maybe, a couple days later, it's the same thing, but this time you're like, oh, I'm going to click through and I'm going to see what this girl is all about. And that vision, that it kind of all begins to come together, but it takes a little bit of time. And I think that that's the frustrating part of this, is because, of course, we want to put out one piece of content and just have it be have it encompass everything and have all the people reach out. But that's not actually the case, right? We have to give this time and persistence and consistency doing these things and being really specific and being really potent in our messaging in order to build this. You're essentially building a brand, right? It's not just about posting content to bring clients in. It's really about posting content to create this beautiful brand that embodies you and your values and what you're all about, and really your life's work, your legacy. And that doesn't happen in one Instagram post or one Instagram caption even. It just simply doesn't happen. So we really take the pressure off by thinking about them as puzzle pieces and then just slowly building and putting putting them together, and every puzzle piece is specific in its own way, but it's not so specific that it's like overwhelming and like too much, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, last one, number 5, is using conversational language. Just be you. So your content really should sound like you. You should be able to act like you. You should be able to just like be you, essentially. And this was an interesting one. This has been one for me that has been really a little bit tricky because of a lot of underlying beliefs that I've had around this. I realized recently that so in college, some of you might know this, I was an NFL cheerleader. So I cheered for the San Diego Chargers for 4 seasons. It was so much fun. And a big part of our job was to go out into the community and do a lot of like promotional work and, you know, a lot of fundraising things, a lot of really, really cool experiences. But essentially what we would do at those promotional events is talk to a lot of people, obviously. Like we obviously just like talk to people. And the underlying assumption about us or about me, or I guess I should say this, I can't speak for everybody that I ever spoke to, but I think this was an assumption that maybe came from me, is that people were assuming that we were like really dumb and ditzy and cheerleaders and like, oh, you're just like a pretty face and oh, like look at that little outfit and look at those boots and look at those pom-poms, like you must be dumb, right? That was the assumption. And so I felt the need to really, really like, I don't want to say overcompensate, but this really was one of my favorite parts of this job, was proving to people or showing people that like that wasn't the case. We were all very well educated. We were all in school. We all had like real, you know, jobs. We were all working people would just be surprised, I guess, when they realized that like, oh, you really are like, you're well spoken, you are educated, you're competent, like you're very smart, like all of these things. And so I took this with me. I brought this with me 20 years later as this thing where I need to make sure that people in my content don't think I'm dumb. And so what was happening, and I know these beliefs sound like really silly, but I promise you, like, this is not uncommon. I've actually worked through this in different like facets in different ways, and it shows up in different versions. But I felt like I needed in my content 20 years later to overcompensate and make sure that nobody thinks that I like am dumb. So my content would sound really like polished, almost like I would call it like book writing, like I'm writing a paper for college, not just how I'm like speaking. So it's been a journey for me to really like open up that door and be like, no, you just get to be you. You get to be like, you get to make mistakes, you get to fumble your words, you get to misspell things, you get to like just be you and talk how you normally talk. And that gets to be enough. That gets to draw in your people. Because I'll tell you guys, like I am equal parts ditzy, equal parts smart. Like I'm very smart. I have lots of degrees. I have lots of credentials. I like all of that stuff, but I'm also equally as ditzy sometimes, and I get to let all of those parts of me come out. So when you read my content, my goal is for you to read my content and then meet me in real life and be like, oh my gosh, you're like the exact same person. Now, this has definitely been a journey for me as far as like authenticity and coming into my voice and really figuring out like who it is that I am. But this plays into the specificity in your messaging, because the more you can sound like you, the easier it's going to be for you to be specific, because you're not going to be going back to like reread things or think, oh, is this like good enough? Is this sound smart enough? Or does this like, all those things that we think. So that's the last one. Number 5 is use conversational language. And one thing when I was working through this, that my mentor suggested to me, she said, okay, I'm like reading your post, but it doesn't, like, I know you, and this doesn't really sound like you. So let's make it sound more like you. What I want you to do is I want you to go in Voxer, and I want you to like tell me what you're explaining here, but like just like talk it out to me how you would normally talk talk it out. So we did that. And then, that trusty little transcribe situation in Voxer transcribed what I was saying. And then I copied that and pasted it. And then you could see like the side by sides, the one like very clean, polished version didn't sound like me at all, where the other one totally like, it sounds like me. And you guys, if you're listening to the podcast here, you know me, you know my voice, I feel like you know me, and I feel like I know you too. So that is a little tip. You just pull up a voice note and use like the microphone button and or even a voice note or a regular note on your phone, use the microphone and just talk it out how you would normally talk. Or like if your best friend asked you a question about that, like what would you say? That's going to help you with specificity. So I hope that you can take these little tips here. I'll recap them really quick. So number one is to tap into who it's for by asking, who is this offer for? What is the problem it solves? And how do I specifically solve it? Okay, so that's number one. Number two is try to avoid ambiguous language. So reread and look out for words like power, hands-on, mindset, embody, next level. There's so many more out there, but those are just the ones that came to my mind. So try to avoid using those words and instead replace those words with what your dream client is saying at happy hour when she's talking to her best friend. And number three is step into consumer mode before you press post. So step back, look at it as if you were a 5-year-old or a person that has no idea who you are, and see if there's anything that's unclear or anything that you could even make more specific. And number four is to think about your content like a puzzle. So every piece is building to create this beautiful brand and this beautiful work that you do, but not every piece of content has to encompass everything so it doesn't get overwhelming and muddled down. And number five is use conversational language. Just be you, sound like you in your content, because that way it gives your people a chance to see who you are. And then think about that one too. If you were to pull a client in that, came to you from your really refined messaging, you're going to feel like once you're in that relationship that you have to keep that up and you have to maintain that. And that's just not sustainable. So, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath here, and I would love to hear from you about which ones of these things, these tips for creating specificity in your messaging, you're going to go try. Please shoot me a message over on Instagram. And also, I know I mentioned this at the beginning, but if you are interested in working on these things, these specific things to get your messaging, your content more specific to call in dream clients, like I said, we're hosting this beautiful mini mind starting tomorrow, which will be Monday, March 31st, 2025. If you're interested in joining us, there are still 3 spots open. We would love to have you, and we're literally going to pull up your content. We're going to pull up Google Docs galore. We're going to map out line by line content ideas, messaging. We're going to take your content, make it even more specific, and we're going to play with this so that your messaging and your content really begins to draw in your dream clients over and over and over again. And your content is really doing some of the heavy lifting for you. So just shoot me a message on Instagram if is something you are interested in. Would love to have you and see if it's a good fit for you. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you back here for another episode next time. I love you guys. Bye. Thanks for listening, you guys. If you're ready to get your business going and making money and to step into that next level version of you, I would love to support you make that happen through strategy, mindset work, and my Cut the BS style coaching, because it's always better, quicker, and more fun to have someone who's already been through it support you. Shoot me a message over on Instagram with the word ready, and we can chat and get your questions answered about coaching and how I can support you. I cannot wait to hear from you.